there. So we're going to put about 2 tablespoons of capers in, sides. They're obviously very pink in the middle. Okay guys, welcome. Today we're going to be cooking a delicious steak, radish, potato, and asparagus hash. It's going to be super good. So get all the ingredients out and let's set the timer, see how long it takes. Let's do this. So first of all, we're going to open up our meat. So grab some kind of knife, cut up your meat package. And we need 2 steaks. So let's grab some paper towels and we're going to pat them dry. So 1 steak, 2 steaks. And obviously if you have more meat, put it back in the fridge because you don't want your meat sitting out through that danger zone temperature. So you're just going to grab another paper towel, pat it dry on the top. And you're going to season with salt and pepper. Lots and lots of salt and pepper always. So remember, you're going to want to use fresh ground pepper. Because if you get the stuff that's already pre-ground, it loses its flavor after a couple months. And if you're about like me, we never eat our pepper faster than a few months. So season that. Now we're going to get out a pan and start heating the oil. So grab your handy dandy fry pan. You can use any size. It's just the size that I have. Let's turn that on high. We're going to get our oil out. There's my oil. Just 2 tablespoons, or 2 teaspoons. I don't know how much it is, so I just put in a little amount. Looks pretty good to me. We're going to let that heat up. And while we're heating that up, we can move these steaks and we will start prepping the vegetables. Remember, raw meat, so I'm going to throw this away. And always, I like to grab like a paper, like a grocery stack to put all your cuttings in and everything. Because nothing ruins your vibe more than going back to the trash and then going back to your workstation. So, right there. Wash your hands, raw meat. Okay, I don't have any chef towels or anything, so don't tell mom. Okay, so we're gonna cut up these potatoes, and they're pretty clean. You can see there's not a lot of dirt on them. All that stuff comes off, but a little bit of stuff, so you can wash them if you like. So we're just gonna wash these real quick. Put them in a bowl, switch them around, some hot water. You can go crazy with a sponge, like a scrubbing brush. Hands will do just fine as well. You can even use the potatoes, rub them on themselves, take skin off both sides of them. Kind of give them a little good little clean. You feel good about it. As my grade school friend used to say, God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. I'm not sure I believe that, but so we're gonna chop these into relatively even sizes. So we want to be small enough that they'll cook fast and evenly, but big enough that they have a nice, fun kind of bite to them. You don't want to make mashed potatoes here. We're making a hash. So like that. If you don't want to eat it, just cut it out. My rule of thumb is for vegetables, if I don't want it, it doesn't look appetizing, don't cook it, right? So we can smell that oil's heating up. And so we're going over there and put that on there. Let's finish these potatoes. Okay, let's look at the oil. Yeah, it's moving good. So we're going to throw our steaks on there and set a 2-minute timer on our phone. Phones are great for that. 2-minute timer.
Okay, 2 minutes and counting.
You can season the other side with salt and pepper while you're waiting on those. So we want a nice sear, but this is really hot. It's on all the way, right? So let's turn that down, take them off for a while, and go back to chopping the vegetables. You can kind of hear it when it stops being such a kind of a loud, boisterous sizzle, like that. Then we can put it back on medium heat, and we'll let that go for 2 minutes, then we'll flip them. We're going to chop up these potatoes. One more to go. As you can see, this is not the optimal knife for cutting things, but I don't have any other good ones. So you can use whatever knife you can. Remember, if we can cook in this small, not very well cooked kitchen, you can cook in yours, I promise. Okay, those potatoes are done, so we're gonna scrape them into the bowl. Set those aside. Move on to the radishes. So these radishes, we've already taken off the little end sprout and the stems, so we're just gonna cut these into wedges. And then I kind of like to half them as well. Or you can just wedgeify them extremely by making really small wedges. That's kind of fun as well. You can hit a timer, so let's go grab that. So our timer is done. We're gonna flip these over. Just grab, fork and spoon or whatever you have. If you have tongs, that's even better. Get a nice little char on that side. Rotate them a little bit. You can hear that sizzle's not quite as high anymore, so we're gonna turn it up a little bit. If you have gas, it reacts a lot faster, but electric, it's slow to react, right? So if I want it to be baking more, cooking more, I gotta turn it up now and then wait for it to heat up, or turn it down and then wait for it to cool down. Kind of annoying, but 2-minute timer. And back to the radishes. Now radishes, a lot of people think they're really bitter. And uncooked, they are kind of bitter. When you cook them, they cook wonderfully and they absorb other flavors. They soften up deliciously. So I've become a huge fan of radishes lately, but you got to make sure you cook them all the way. So raw, this radish is a little bit soft, has a big cut in it. I don't like it. So raw radishes are quite potent and not my favorite. Cooked radishes, delicious. They go well with onions, they go well with potatoes, they go well with meat. Chicken, beef, pork, it's pretty awesome when you can use them for it. And they're healthy. I got some weird color in there. Let's cut leave the normal color, get rid of the weird color. Oh, that's alright. Alright, those are done. Scrape them back in your little bowl, just for easy handling. Now we're going to quarter the lemon. So, half it, quarter it. Now if you remove the seeds right now as much as you can, makes it easier on you when you're squeezing them, because when you squeeze them, the seeds have a tendency to go into your food. And no one really enjoys biting down hard into a lemon seed, so just kind of try to scrape as many seeds as you can when you can see them. When we squeeze them, we're going to squeeze them into our hand first, and that'll catch most of the seeds. So it's not imperative you do this, but it's easy enough. And if you can see the seeds and they're nicely grouped like these are, you just kind of scrape them out and save yourself a little bit of worry down the road. There we go. Okay, throw those up there. Now we take the asparagus. So you're going to be using half a bunch of asparagus, not all of it. So asparagus is kind of like a root, and see where these seeds are here, so I don't have to worry about them. And you can hear that the steaks are ready to be turned again. Now if you look at these steaks, you can see on the sides that they're obviously very pink in the middle. And we got a nice little char there, a little bit of a better char like that. So it's really all about how you like your meat, right? Do you want them medium well done or well done? I like medium, I do not like rare. So we're gonna put these on for another 2 minutes. And then some people say you should never cut your meat open to check. I just cut it open, it's easier, and yes, some of the juices leave, but I prefer to eat meat that I like and that is done the way I like it rather than severely underdone or overdone. So, we set another 2-minute timer. 2-minute timer. Move this down a little bit. Let that keep going. So asparagus is kind of a root, and so this part is always kind of hard and woody, so what I like to do is kind of like move down until it kind of sinks in, and then cut that part off. Okay? Then you leave the top, and the top's awesome. So kind of chop the bottoms off. Or if you don't have time to do that, you can just want to cut them all, then just kind of start hacking at them. And you can be pretty sure that you can cut off at least an inch or two. Some of the asparagus will be pre-trimmed when you get it. So you don't want to cut off too much because so this right here, you can kind of see this is still a little bit hard. It's like soft right there. So you want to kind of make sure you look through, and anything that's kind of pale, you can start taking off. Because basically, it's no one really wants to bite into a stick, you know. And some of these asparagus roots can be quite woody. So we're scrape this into our refuse. Pick up the pieces that have somehow managed to escape. And we're going to cut these asparagus into smaller spears. So we're going to kind of cut them at an angle. And then once more. Okay, and those are done. So let's grab another bowl, throw those in there. And the tops are kind of the delicate part, so you want to kind of put those in last, because they can get kind of crushed and they start falling apart, especially when you start cooking them. So, and the tops are one of the most delicious part, I think. So, kind of put those on top. Okay. And we gotta chop up our red onion. So our red onion, we want to kind of chop it into quarters again, so we can break it up. So a great way to cut red onion is to find where the kind of root area is and leave that on there actually. So you want to cut off the top part. And then you can kind of slice down and kind of peel off first layer to kind of get the skin off easier. Oh, you can hear that our steaks are done again. So we'll finish this onion. We're gonna move back there and kind of test one of those. Okay, let's flip them, see what we're doing. It's looking great. So I'm actually going to pull one of these off and test it, see where we're at. So, I'll just pull one of these off. Give a nice little cut in the middle. See where we're at. And so you can see, a little bit pink in the middle, looking pretty good. I actually like that, and as it cools down, it'll cook through a little bit more as the heat kind of goes around. So I'm actually going to pull them off right now. That's my personal preference for cooking. And so you're going to want to leave all these bits and stuff in here. That's called the fawn, and that makes the stuff really good. So you're going to leave that in there, don't clean out the pan, and let these rest for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes while we're finishing everything else. So, now we're going over here, we're going to add a little bit more oil, just a touch. And then we're going to throw in the radishes and the potatoes, get those cooking. So let's grab our handy dandy spatula, Christmas themed in my case, because it's the only one I have. Give those a little stir. You want to scrape the pan a little bit to scrape that fond, as they call it, the cooked part. It's casualty. Scrape that off and get it to coat the potatoes, because it's really, really delicious. And then you're also going to want to season with salt and pepper. So let's grab our salt and pepper. Generously. You actually need more salt than you think with potatoes, because potatoes are a pretty bland starch. So don't go crazy, right? Because you can always add more and you can't take it away, but what do you think? So we're going to turn those up to high, because potatoes and radishes take a while. If you have gas, you might not need to go all the way, but for this old electric, we're going full throttle. So as we're cooking those, we're going to make the salsa verde. So we're going to grab another bowl, and we're going to add into that our parsley, we're going to chop it up, our capers, and our Parmesan cheese. So let's grab that Parmesan cheese. You're going to want to use a 1/4 cup of this. So it'll all be measured for you, of course, but about a 1/4 cup of that. Then we're going to chop some of that parsley up. About half the bunch. Let's not get that onion in there. We're going to kind of rough chop it. So this is going to be in a sauce, right? So you don't want like a massive piece of vegetable come through your sauce, so we're going to chop that again. Just kind of bring it together. Once again, it'd be better if I had a chef knife for this, but you cook with what you got, as we like to say. It's a little bit too much, so I'm gonna actually put in about half that amount. You'll have the right amount, of course. Then you're gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of capers. I'm gonna drain these. Yours are already drained. Now, if you look at the potatoes, you can see they're cooking nicely, and you can kind of hear them. You can kind of hear that they're kind of starting to brown on that side. So we're actually going to want to flip them real quick, because we don't want to just absolutely fry one side, right? So we're supposed to cook these for 6 to 8 minutes. They've been going for about 2. So let's put a timer on for another 5 minutes. 5-minute timer. Okay, those are looking good. So we're going back to our sauce. So we're going to put about 2 tablespoons of capers in. 2 tablespoons. Okay, then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to grab a fork and mix that around. Get a paste consistency, right? So I kind of want it to stick together, so that's looking pretty good. Has enough oil in there. Let's smash it down a little bit. And once again, you season to taste. Apparently you season everything to taste with salt and pepper. So, done. Alright, so let's move the rest of that. We don't need the rest of this, so let's clean that off. And get back to doing this onion. So we're going to cut it in half. And leaving this section on, we're going to kind of cut down at an angle, washing your fingers, of course. This is nice because the root is going to hold on these little kind of slivers of onion. And so it's going to make it really easy for us to then kind of dice it. And when you get to this end right here, just kind of cut off the parts you want, leave the part you don't, and you're done. So it's pretty nice. And we can remove more of that skin, we don't get the onion skin in there. So cut at an angle again, or you can cut straight down, it really doesn't matter. So just the key part is to leave the little onion straws connected to the root, so you don't have to hold them with your hands. And once you get close to your fingers, just flip it around, cut off the part you want, leave the part you don't, and you're done. We can reuse this bowl, throw the onions in here, and we're ready to go. You can hear these are cooking again. So our purpose on these ones is we want to brown them. We don't actually want to make them super soft, because we're still going to add the onions and the asparagus to this, right? So if you would test these with a fork right now, you're going to notice these potatoes are super hard. So they're not done, obviously. But we want to get that nice browning on the outside before we add everything else. So let's see how much time we have left. We got a minute left on them, so we can keep going on there. You can see our steaks are resting nicely. You don't want to cut them right after you cook them because you want a chance for the proteins to relax a little bit. So we're letting them rest right there. But we're gonna keep them warm, it's okay. These are about done. So now we're gonna throw in the asparagus and the onion. Throw them on top right there. Let them start steaming. Then we have to take some garlic. So once again, just grab your garlic clove. And once again, to do this, I just kind of like to smash it because that kind of like forces a lot of the paper off. It's kind of nice. So pick out a few cloves that you like. Then we're going to cut off the top and the bottom of the clove and peel off that paper stuff. You can hear our timer's done, which we actually said it was done before that, so we'll turn that off so we finish these. Turn that timer off. Let's stir these asparagus and onions down so they get some of that goodness too. And get all the onions incorporated evenly throughout so they can touch the bottom and get some time to char as well. That's looking great. So for the garlic, sometimes you want to remove this like papery stuff. You can kind of cut along the back of the garlic clove, kind of like that, and then it'll peel off. That's a nice way to remove it. Or you can just kind of smash it once again. You smash it, it'll kind of force it off, and then you kind of rub it with your fingers, and that paper stuff comes right off. So whichever way you want to do it, it's good. Sometimes the smashing way is nice because it's quicker. And we're going to mince these up, so I'm going to clean this knife off a little bit because it's covered in onion skins. We don't want them there. So we're going to try to mince these garlic nice and small. Once again, watch your fingers. When in doubt, go slow, because nothing ends a good meal like a trip to the hospital. And once again, if you had a proper chef's knife, you could do like the 3-finger thing where the blade would bounce off this part of your finger right here and never cut you. But my blade is too small. I can bounce it right here and I can still get myself. So invest in some nice quality knives if you decide you really want to start cooking. Or you get out of school, or you have a nice job. You know how it is. Then to give it extra small, I kind of like to corral them and then kind of just rock the knife while pushing them through a little bit. Okay, those are done. Let's grab one of those off our cutting board. Throw them in here. We'll stir them and incorporate them a little bit. We're going to cook these until the asparagus turn bright green, right? So this is looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. We want to get a nice bright green color on them. We don't want to overdo them, but we do want them soft, right? So, okay, put these in there. So we're going to test one of these. Still pretty hard, so we're going to give it another 3 minutes. 3-minute timer. And you can also test these radishes. These radishes are getting nice and soft, right? Like they're looking pretty good. Potatoes are getting a lot softer as well. Onions are still pretty hard because we just obviously put them in there, so 3 minutes is going to be good for that, I think. Okay. Remember to clean up while you're waiting on your stuff to cook because it makes it look a lot easier in the end. So let's separate the remaining garlic out of here that we don't want to throw away. And we'll throw it over there in the bag again. Enough there. Start washing the dishes as well while we're waiting. If you do your dishes while you're cooking, if you ever have time, it makes the cleanup a lot easier. Because nothing's worse than finishing a delicious meal and realizing you have another half an hour work to get to clean all the dishes. So if you do these while you're waiting on your wonderful onions to soften, it makes it a lot easier and a lot less painful when you get to the end. Wash. Turn these, see how they're doing. You can see we're getting a little bit too much charring on that one. So I let these go for a little bit too long. I'll put a note in the video to turn them a little sooner. And we're also adding a little more oil because we're getting a little dry in here. And we want them to fry, we don't want them to burn, right? Turn this down a little bit too. Actually down about halfway, half heat. Now also we're going to need to season the asparagus and onion to taste as well. Like I said, you season everything to taste. I don't know what that means. We're not tasting it, right? It's boiling hot. I don't know what to taste means, but that's what all the cookbooks say, so we're seasoned to taste. See how much time we got left on that timer. It's ending right now, actually. So let's test our asparagus. Ooh, asparagus is looking nice. Pretty soft. So basically you want the fork to be able to enter a little bit of pressure, right? But you want it to be kind of easy. So like this one right here, that was nice. This one right here, a little bit too hard. So we're gonna let it cook a little longer. Let's go find an onion, see what we're doing there. So onion's looking okay. Probably could be a little softer. You want them kind of limp, I guess, and fried, because red onions especially have a pretty strong taste if they're not cooked all the way through. So you want to make sure those are nice and soft. Stop that timer. So we're gonna cook these about 5 to 7 minutes. We've been going for already that 3-minute timer and 2 minutes before that. So let's add another time and 1 minute on there. 1 minute timer. So while we're waiting for those, we're going to cut our steaks. So let's bring our steaks over to the cutting board. So if you have a plastic cutting board, it's better to do that on a plastic cutting board because wood absorbs a lot of the juices and that's not awesome. I don't have a plastic cutting board, so we're going to do it here. Just make sure you clean it well afterwards. So you're going to kind of cut nice and thinly, at kind of a little angle. And you're just going to chop that right up. Using a serrated knife works nicely for this point. If you have a steak knife, that's perfect because this is steak. Look at that, nice, even pink throughout the middle, just like we like it. Of course, it's always a personal preference. If you're one of those people who loves raw, then you're gonna have a blast at this because you'll be cooking for like 2 minutes and it'll be done. But I do not enjoy raw steak. So, you hear that timer's done again, so it's over here. Give that a stop. And now we're gonna flip this around. It's looking good. It's looking nice and soft. The asparagus is all looking bright green, looking fun. Let's grab a new fork. Test the asparagus. So see that kind of goes through without much effort. I push a little bit. Nice. You just want it crunchy, right? You don't want to like destroy it. We're not going for canned asparagus here, but you want it nice and soft. And let's find some onion again. Yeah, that's looking nice. A little translucency, little char. That's looking great. So we're gonna pull that off, turn off the heat, finish cutting up our steak, and we'll be good to go. So cut nice and thin pieces against the grain. You could cut it this way if you wanted, but that's it's a little harder to cut, and those are kind of really big pieces of meat. So I like to cut the smaller pieces of meat, bite-sized or travel size for your convenience, as Mushu would say. I can't really get that one, so I'll just cut that in half. All right, we're ready. So let's plate this meal. So let's grab 2 plates. We're gonna bring it over here. We'll lay down a little bed of the hash first of all. Make sure you get like some onions, some radishes in there. Good variety, good color. Then we're gonna top it with some of this delicious steak. So slide that on there. That's looking marvelous. Break that up a little bit. Then we're going to throw this sauce kind of paste on the top. Not too much, but it's enough to make it look picture perfect. There we go. It's looking good. Let's see how we did. We're going to get a potato, we're going to get a radish, we're going to get asparagus, we're going to get a piece of steak. Try it out. That is delicious. Fresh, good crunch. Delicious. Okay, you can see that's looking great. There's not some huge chunks, right? It doesn't have to be like a puree. It's mashed, not blended. So that's looking pretty good. We're gonna salt and pepper that to taste. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.